Saint Elizabeth of Portugal was born in 1271 in Aragon, Spain, the daughter of King Peter III and Queen Constance. She was named after her great-aunt, Saint Elizabeth of Hungary, whose legacy of charity and humility she would later carry forward with astonishing grace. Raised in a deeply Catholic royal household, Elizabeth developed a profound devotion to prayer and the Eucharist from an early age. At the age of 12, she was married to King Denis of Portugal, a wise and powerful ruler, though not always faithful or devout. Yet Elizabeth bore this with quiet strength. Rather than complain, she turned her heart to God, praying daily, attending Mass, and channeling her sorrow into service for the poor. She founded hospitals, orphanages, hostels, and convents, and used her royal income to care for those whom society forgot. One of the most famous stories associated with her occurred during a cold winter morning. Hiding loaves of bread in her cloak to give to the poor, she was stopped by the king, who questioned what she was carrying. Not wanting to confront him or lie, she answered simply, "Roses, my lord." When the king ordered her to open her cloak, the loaves had miraculously transformed into roses in the dead of winter. The Church sees this not only as a miracle, but a divine sign of God's blessing upon her boundless charity. Butler's Lives of the Saints. Elizabeth was not only generous, but also a gifted peacemaker. She reconciled her own husband and son, Prince Alfonso, when political tensions nearly tore the royal family apart. Her interventions preserved the stability of the kingdom. After King Denis died in 1325, Elizabeth retired from royal life and joined the Third Order of St. Francis. She settled at a convent in Coimbra, adopting a life of prayer, simplicity, and humble service. Martyrologium, Romanum, 2004. But even in her final years, she was called once more to the battlefield of peace. In 1336, a war broke out between her son, now King Alfonso IV, and her grandson, her daughter's son, who ruled a neighboring kingdom. Though elderly and frail, Elizabeth mounted a horse and rode to the front lines. Through tears, prayer, and the weight of her moral authority, she convinced both rulers to lay down their arms. Peace was restored, but the journey took a toll on her health. She collapsed shortly after the mediation and died on July 4, 1336, in Estremos, Acta Sanctorum, July volume I. Her body was laid to rest at the Poor Clare convent in Coimbra. Years later, when her tomb was opened, her body were found incorrupt, a sign often associated with great sanctity in the Catholic tradition. In 1625, Pope Urban VIII canonized her as a saint. Today, Saint Elizabeth of Portugal is venerated as the patroness of peace, of queens, and of widows who live lives of prayer and charity. She is remembered not for leading armies or writing theological works, but for something rarer: the courage to live quietly, love deeply, and bring peace where no one else could.